Adin Ross just lost millions over words he can't take back. Dochi's sitting on 5 Grammy nominations while he's watching deals disappear. The internet is watching a man self-destruct in real time, and honestly, it's getting uncomfortable to watch. Everyone thought this beef was over. Adin said some wild stuff about Doechii on stream, the internet dragged him, and that was supposed to be it. Just another controversy in the pile. But then Wack 100 got involved. Then Top Dog Entertainment stepped in. Then Adin started losing actual money, multi-million-dollar deals vanishing overnight. And while he's scrambling to save his reputation, Doechii's out here collecting Grammy nominations like infinity stones. The whole narrative is twisting because this stopped being about words. Now it's about consequences, and Adin's learning what happens when you disrespect the culture. Let me break down what actually happened because the details are insane. January 2026, Wack 100 gets a phone call that changes everything. Not from Adin, from Top himself. Anthony Tiffith, the boss of Top Dog Entertainment, personally reached out to Wack to step in as mediator. Think about that for a second. The head of one of hip-hop's most respected labels had to call in reinforcements because this situation was spiraling. Here's what went down behind the scenes. Adin originally called Wack complaining about Glasses Malone threatening him. Wack had zero idea why they were even beefing until people explained it was about Dochi. That's when Top from TDE hit his line. The conversation was direct. Wack told Adin to chill out and stop responding to rappers. His exact words to TMZ, Team TDE are businessmen, not gangsters. That's industry talk for you're messing with the wrong people. But here's where it gets crazier. Adin, trying to save face, announces he's donating $100,000 to small black-owned businesses in Los Angeles ghettos. Wack 100 confirms Adin filled out all the paperwork, claims this was already in his heart, not damage control. But let's keep it real. The timing is suspicious. This pledge comes right after he loses multiple business opportunities. Fans online aren't buying it. They're calling it a desperate PR move. And honestly, the evidence backs that up. Because while Adin's scrambling to repair his image, the financial losses are piling up fast. He admitted on stream with DJ Academics, "Oh my God, I'm so mad, Ak. My PR was finally getting better. I had 2 deals lined up. 2 multi-million-dollar brand deals. Canceled. These weren't small opportunities. These were partnerships he'd been working toward for months, maybe years, trying to rebuild after previous controversies. Gone, just like that." And it gets worse. Adin revealed he lost a huge collaboration with a major NBA superstar in New York City. The player's PR team literally DM'd him specifically about his Doechii comments. The collaboration was postponed indefinitely. Think about what that means. An NBA player's team was monitoring his behavior close enough to pull the plug immediately. That's how toxic this situation became. That's how much damage he caused to his own brand. Meanwhile, while Adin's watching millions disappear, Doechii's breaking records. Her album, Alligator Bites Never Heal, became the most streamed project by a female rapper on Spotify in 2025. Not just successful, the most streamed. It's the best-selling female rap album in the US by total units in the first half of 2025. Her sales tripled from first week, 11,000 units to 32,000 plus in later weeks. The project accumulated over 1.3 billion streams. Let me say that again, 1.3 billion. Chart performance, she hit number 14 on the Billboard 200. That's her first top 20 album ever. Number 10 on the R&B hip-hop albums chart. Her single, What It Is, earned 8.1 million US streams in 1 week, a 77% surge. Album units increased 40% during peak period. Individual tracks are dominating. Persuasive pulled 30.2 million streams. What It Is hit 29.7 million. Wait reached 27.8 million. But the most powerful receipt? 5 Grammy nominations for 2026. Her track, Anxiety, is nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Music Video. 5 nominations for 1 song. And here's the kicker. Anxiety was originally recorded in 2019. 7 years ago. She's been sitting on music this powerful, strategically releasing it, proving she's not some overnight success. She's been building. Online detectives went deep into comparing their trajectories. Fans started pulling up streaming numbers, award nominations, tour dates, critical reviews. They created side-by-side comparisons showing Doechii's rise versus Adin's decline. The data is overwhelming. While he's losing opportunities, she's gaining them. While he's being dropped by brands, she's being celebrated by Billboard as Woman of the Year 2025. The contrast couldn't be sharper. And that Billboard Award, presented March 29, 2025, in YouTube Theater in Inglewood. Doechii shouted out her Tampa hometown during acceptance. She joins elite company, Taylor Swift, SZA, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Karol G. She's the first female MC on the TDE roster to receive this honor. In her acceptance speech, she said, "I was tired of women not getting recognition." That statement hits different now, doesn't it? Especially considering what Adin said about her. The receipts don't stop. Grammy winner for Best Rap Album 2025, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, a BET Award, NAACP Image Award nominations for Outstanding New Artist, Outstanding Female Artist, and Outstanding Music Video. Billboard named her Rising Star at Women in Music 2023. This isn't a fluke. This isn't industry plant behavior. This is 5 years of consistent grinding paying off. Now let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking into place. Why would Adin Ross go after Doechii so aggressively? What's really driving this behavior? We need to look at the pattern, not just this incident. Adin's been dealing with serious reputation issues for years. His platform became known for hosting controversial figures, pushing boundaries, and attracting drama. That content strategy worked for a while, pulled in millions of views, built a massive audience, but it came with consequences. Brands started distancing themselves, advertisers got nervous, his edgy content became a liability instead of an asset. He's been trying to rebuild, slowly, carefully, working to clean up his public image. He mentioned this himself on stream. "My PR was finally getting better." That statement reveals everything. He knew his reputation was damaged. He knew he needed to be more careful, but he couldn't help himself. The moment he started talking about Doechii, all that progress vanished. Think about the psychology here. Adin's career is built on reaction content and hot takes. He thrives on engagement, even negative engagement. His entire business model depends on people paying attention. So when Doechii's success story started dominating headlines, when her Grammy nominations and streaming numbers became unavoidable, maybe, just maybe, he saw an opportunity. A chance to insert himself into the conversation, a chance to get his name trending alongside hers. But he miscalculated badly. He didn't account for how the culture would respond. He didn't understand the significance of disrespecting a black woman in hip-hop, especially one under the protection of Top Dog Entertainment. He thought this would be another controversy that blows over in a week. Instead, it became a referendum on his entire career. Let's talk about his history with women, because this pattern runs deep. July 2023, the Megan Thee Stallion situation. While Megan was dealing with the trauma of being shot, Adin supported Tory Lanez. He pushed conspiracy theories suggesting Megan was lying. He was part of that Drake academics crew constantly doubting her account, spreading misinformation. Fans dragged him then, but he faced minimal real consequences. December 2025, he made sexist comments about female streamers, claimed viewers only watch girl streamers for sexual reasons, reduced women to objects for male consumption. The backlash was loud. He apologized, said he'd do better, promised to take accountability. That lasted, what, a few weeks before he was back at it with Doechii? January 2025, he publicly took accountability for raising toxic fans. Big public statement about being more responsible with his platform, about understanding his influence. That accountability meant nothing because he continues the same behavior patterns. Apologies followed by repeated offenses. It's a cycle. Say something offensive, face backlash, apologize, repeat. The Doechii situation is different though. This time, the consequences are financial. When brands pulled those multi-million-dollar deals, that was the market speaking. When that NBA player's team canceled their collaboration, that was the industry drawing a line. This isn't just Twitter outrage anymore. This is real money disappearing because companies don't want to be associated with his behavior. And here's what makes it even more pathetic. He's now blaming Complex magazine. Recently, Adin's been saying Complex fueled the fire with a PR hit piece against him. He accused them of telling media outlets what to post, claims the controversy was manufactured. He refuses to take full accountability for his own words. The irony is thick. His comments were captured on his own live stream. Nobody forced him to say those things. Nobody edited his words out of context. He repeated offensive language multiple times. Even his friend Cuffham asked him to calm down during the stream. But now he's pointing fingers at media companies for covering what he publicly said. That's not accountability. That's deflection. This isn't even his first beef with Complex. July 2025, he threatened to sue them for $30 million over their coverage of a racial slur controversy, accused them of defamation. There's a pattern here. Adin does something problematic, media reports it, he blames the media instead of examining his own behavior. It's a masterclass in avoiding responsibility. But the culture isn't letting him slide this time. West Coast rappers unified. Glasses Malone stepped up. Jason Martin got involved. Whack 100 had to broker peace. Even TDE, known for staying out of petty drama, had to address it. That shows how seriously this situation escalated. When a label boss is making phone calls to protect one of his artists, you've crossed a major line. The motive becomes clear when you see the full picture. Adin's career is declining while Doechii's is rock-skyrocketing. He's losing opportunities while she's gaining recognition. He's being dropped by brands while she's being celebrated by institutions. That kind of contrast creates resentment. Add in his history of disrespecting women, his pattern of avoiding accountability, and his desperate need for attention, and you get this mess. But here's the part that really hits different: the human cost of this drama. Beyond the numbers and the business deals, there's a black woman who just wants to make music and gets targeted for existing successfully. That's Doechii's reality right now. Imagine working for 5 years straight, grinding through TikTok virality, building your fan base organically, earning your spot on one of hip-hop's most legendary labels. Imagine pouring your heart into an album that reflects your artistry, your struggles, your identity. Imagine that album becoming the most streamed female rap project of the year. Imagine receiving 5 Grammy nominations for a song you wrote 7 years ago. Now imagine some streamer with millions of followers decides to tear you down.
Publicly, for no reason other than clout, calls you names, questions your success, dismisses your achievements, and his audience, millions strong, amplifies that disrespect across every platform. That's not just drama, that's emotional violence. That's a coordinated attack on someone's character, someone's work, someone's humanity. And Doechii handled it with grace. She didn't spiral into Twitter rants. She didn't give Adin the satisfaction of a public meltdown. She posted about sunsets. She focused on her Grammy nominations. She promoted her tour dates. She stayed in her purpose. BET analyzed her response strategy perfectly. They said, posting about success, sunsets, and staying focused is grown behavior. It's also strategic. Black women are constantly pressured to prove we deserve peace, while others profit from provoking us. Refusing to perform rage doesn't mean silence, it means discernment. Read that again. Refusing to perform rage doesn't mean silence, it means discernment. Doechii understood something Adin never will. Engaging with negativity only feeds it. She chose her peace over his provocation. She chose her career over his controversy, and that choice made her look powerful while making him look obsessed. The emotional intelligence required to maintain that composure while facing coordinated harassment, while watching someone with a massive platform try to diminish your accomplishments, that's warrior-level strength. That's the kind of maturity that brands notice. That's why she's gaining opportunities while he's losing them. But let's be real about what this represents. This is exhausting for Black women. The constant need to prove worthiness, the constant attacks on credibility, the constant questioning of achievements. Doechii earned every single one of her accolades. She put in the work, she delivered the art, she built the fan base. And still, she has to deal with someone trying to tear her down for sport. That's the emotional reality beneath this controversy. That's the weight Black women carry in this industry. Excellence isn't enough. Success isn't enough. They still have to defend their right to exist in their success. That's messed up, and the culture is tired of it. Let's dive back into the receipts, because the more you examine this situation, the crazier it gets. Social media reactions have been overwhelming, and they tell a story about where the culture stands. Twitter was ablaze with trending topics. Dochi tops Spotify as female rapper amid Adin Ross feud, dominated timelines for days. The engagement was massive, hundreds of thousands of tweets, millions of impressions. Fans weren't just defending Doechii, they were celebrating her success as the perfect response to hate. Common sentiment? She's winning while he's losing deals. The hashtags told the story. Hashtag Doechii better, hashtag Adin Ross is over, hashtag protect black women. TikTok creators broke down the situation from every angle. One viral video asked, "In what world is getting a Grammy before your debut album, having a sold-out tour, and having 600,000 plus album sales in a year considered a flop?" That video got millions of views. Comment section unified. Doechii is proving everyone wrong with receipts, not words. Another popular take? This is how you handle hate. Stay winning. The criticism aimed at Adin was brutal. Hip Hop Wired ran the headline, "Adin Ross gets packed up on X for disrespecting Doechii." The article detailed how Black Twitter unified in dragging him. Comments ranged from, "He's obsessed and it's weird at this point," to "Lost millions to call a woman names, make it make sense." The internet had zero sympathy for his situation. Black Twitter specifically went into action. The community rallied with unified force, calling out misogynoir explicitly. They weren't just defending one artist, they were drawing a line about respect for black women in hip-hop. They demanded accountability from platforms hosting Ross. They pushed for real consequences, not just temporary backlash, and their pressure worked. That's why brands started pulling deals. That's why the NBA players team backed out. The collective voice created tangible impact. The hip-hop community's response was powerful. West Coast unity was on full display. Glass's Malone stepped up immediately, Jason Martin got involved, 100 had to broker peace, Top Dog Entertainment showed organizational solidarity, protecting their artist. That's what happens when you disrespect someone under institutional protection. The entire infrastructure activates. Cultural commentators weighed in heavily. Joe Budden dedicated podcast segments to analyzing the situation. Anthony Fantano, typically focused on music criticism, addressed the controversy's cultural implications. They all reached similar conclusions. Adin crossed a line, and the response was justified. Even commentators who usually stay neutral couldn't ignore the severity. DJ Academic's role in this deserves examination because it's controversial. He posted a video titled, "DJ Academics Defends Adin Ross for Disrespecting Black Women." The quotes around defends are important. Even the title acknowledges the optics are bad. Ac provided a platform for Ross to explain himself, gave him uncritical airtime during peak controversy. Fans questioned whose side Ac really is on. Academics has a long history of controversial takes on women in hip-hop. His close relationship with Adin Ross means he's less likely to hold him accountable. He often gives Ross uncritical platform space during controversies. Many see Ac as part of the broader problem, male commentators protecting each other instead of calling out misogyny. His involvement added another layer to the discourse about accountability in hip-hop.
Now let's talk about the industry plant allegations, because they need to be fully debunked with timeline evidence. People online tried claiming Doechii's success is manufactured, that she didn't earn her spot. The facts destroy that narrative completely. 2020 to 2021, Doechii was building buzz on TikTok organically. Yucky Blucky Fruitcake went viral naturally, no label push. Her unique style and personality attracted fans independently. She was creating content, engaging with followers, building community from the ground up. 2021, she signed to TDE after proving herself. TDE doesn't just sign anyone. They're one of the most selective labels in hip-hop. Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Schoolboy Q, legendary roster. Doechii became the first female MC on that roster, and she had to earn that spot through talent and proven track record. 2022 to 2024, she grinded. Mixtapes, performances, building industry relationships. She opened for Kendrick Lamar's Grand National Tour. That's not industry plant behavior. That's working your way up through merit. She performed at Glastonbury, she collaborated with SZA, worked with Nas. Every opportunity was earned through previous success, not handed through manufactured hype. 2025, Grammy win for Best Rap Album, Billboard Woman of the Year, Most Streamed Female Rap Project. Those achievements represent 5 years of consistent work. Real industry plants get pushed immediately with massive budgets and instant visibility. Doechii's trajectory shows organic growth, strategic development, and earned recognition. If she's an industry plant, why did it take 5+ years of grinding to get major recognition? The timeline doesn't support that narrative. The work speaks for itself. The industry plant allegations are just another way to diminish a black woman's legitimate success. Streaming stats from multiple platforms confirmed her dominance. Spotify showed sustained growth, not artificial spikes. Apple Music reflected similar patterns. YouTube engagement remained consistent. These numbers represent real fan bases, real listeners, real cultural impact. You can't fake 1.3 billion streams. You can't manufacture 5 Grammy nominations. You can't industry plant your way to Billboard Woman of the Year. The evidence is overwhelming. Doechii earned every single achievement. Adin lost every single opportunity. The contrast is poetry justice. Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize how strategic Doechii's response actually was. Let's break down her masterclass in public relations, because there are lessons here for anyone dealing with online hate. What she did? Minimal direct engagement with Ross. She let her music do the talking, specifically her collaboration Girl Get Up with SZA. She focused laser-focused on success metrics and career achievements. Her social media stayed positive. Grammy nominations, tour announcements, artistic content. She posted about sunsets, shared studio sessions, engaged with fans about music, normal celebrity behavior, unbothered behavior. What she didn't do is equally important. No Twitter rants, 0 back-and-forth live streams. She didn't give Ross more attention or oxygen. She refused to play into the drama cycle that he desperately wanted. She refused to perform rage for public consumption. Why does this strategy work so effectively? It makes Ross look obsessed and unhinged. When one person is screaming and the other is calmly succeeding, the contrast speaks volumes. She looks mature and professional. Brands notice that stability. Investors notice that emotional intelligence. Meanwhile, Ross looks chaotic, unreliable, and toxic. That's why he's losing deals while she's gaining respect. Success is genuinely the best revenge. Every Grammy nomination is a response. Every streaming milestone is a statement. Every sold-out tour date is proof. She's not wasting energy on someone beneath her trajectory. She's focused on the work, and the work is speaking. The industry watched this play out and took notes. They saw how Doechii handled coordinated harassment with grace. They saw how she maintained professionalism under pressure. They saw how she protected her peace while protecting her brand. That's attractive to partnerships. That's what companies want to invest in: stability, consistency, emotional regulation. Meanwhile, they watched Adin spiral. They saw him double down on offensive comments. They watched him blame media instead of accepting responsibility. They observed him lose control of the narrative. That's toxic to business relationships. That's liability. That's why deals disappeared. Let's talk about the donation pledge again, because it deserves deeper examination. WAC 100 confirmed Adin filled out paperwork for $100,000 to Black-owned businesses. On the surface, that sounds noble, but the timing reveals everything. This pledge came immediately after losing multiple business opportunities. It came after intense public backlash. It came after financial consequences became real. Critics rightfully question whether this is genuine charity or calculated PR cleanup. The pattern suggests the latter. When you only demonstrate generosity after facing consequences, it looks transactional. When you only support Black communities after being called out for disrespecting Black women, it looks performative. Real allyship is consistent. Real support doesn't require controversy as motivation. Fans online weren't convinced. Comments ranged from "damage control is so obvious" to "if he really cared about Black businesses, he would have been supporting them before this drama." The skepticism is valid. Actions driven by consequences aren't the same as actions driven by values.
The broader conversation about online fame and responsibility keeps surfacing. Adin represents a generation of creators who built platforms on controversy and shock value. That strategy has diminishing returns. Eventually, the consequences catch up. Eventually, brands care more about stability than virality. Eventually, the chaos becomes too expensive. What we're seeing with Adin is the natural endpoint of that content strategy. You can only burn bridges for so long before there's nowhere left to go. You can only alienate communities for so long before isolation becomes permanent. You can only lose opportunities for so long before the career itself becomes unsustainable. This situation is a warning for other creators following similar paths. Attention isn't enough. Engagement isn't enough. You need respect. You need credibility. You need to understand that words have weight, actions have consequences, and the internet has a long memory. What we're seeing here goes way beyond celebrity beef. This represents a cultural turning point in how Black female artists are defended and respected. The implications reach into every corner of the entertainment industry. First, the financial consequences proved real. This wasn't just Twitter outrage that fades in 48 hours. Adin lost tangible millions. Multi-million-dollar brand deals vanished. NBA collaborations disappeared. His income took a massive hit because companies decided association with him was too risky. That's market accountability. That's capitalism voting with dollars. When disrespecting Black women becomes economically disadvantageous, behavior changes or careers end. Second, the unity displayed was powerful. TDE, West Coast rappers, fans, media commentators, everyone aligned. That doesn't happen often in hip-hop, where competition and ego usually dominate. But when it came to protecting Doechii, the culture unified. That sends a message. Disrespect Black women in hip-hop face collective resistance, not just individual responses, institutional responses, label responses, industry responses. Third, strategic silence won. Doechii proved maturity and professionalism triumph over reactivity. She didn't need to yell louder. She didn't need to match his energy. She just needed to stay in her excellence. That's a lesson for everyone facing online harassment. Engaging with hate often amplifies it. Ignoring hate while focusing on success diminishes it. Her approach was textbook crisis management. Fourth, receipts matter more than rhetoric. All the Grammy nominations, streaming numbers, sales figures, award wins, those are undeniable facts. You can't argue with data. You can't dismiss achievements. Doechii's success speaks louder than any clapback ever could. She let the work speak. That's power. The bigger conversation is about responsibility in media platforms. YouTube, Kick, Twitch, these platforms host creators like Adin Ross who regularly push boundaries and cross lines. When do platforms enforce accountability? When do they decide content is too toxic? This situation pressures platforms to establish clearer standards about harassment and misogyny. If creators face consequences from brands but not platforms, the incentive structure remains broken. For female artists, this represents hope and validation. The industry is slowly shifting toward protecting women instead of expecting them to endure abuse silently. That's progress. It's imperfect progress, it's incomplete progress, but it's movement in the right direction. When labels actively defend their female artists, when male rappers publicly support them, when brands pull money from their harassers, that changes the culture. For male creators, this is a wake-up call. The old playbook of shock value and controversy is dying. The audience is evolving. The market is evolving. Misogyny isn't edgy anymore. It's expensive. If you built your platform on disrespecting women, your foundation is sand. Eventually, it collapses. So where do things stand right now as of January 2026? Let's lay out the current state of both careers because the contrast is stark. Adin Ross, still facing intense backlash, lost major business opportunities that aren't coming back. His reputation is severely damaged despite the donation pledge and apology attempts. He blamed Complex magazine instead of accepting full accountability. Multiple parties told him explicitly to stop talking about Doechii. He's isolated, defensive, and watching his career trajectory decline in real time. Doechii, 5 Grammy nominations for Anxiety with the 2026 ceremony approaching.
Billboard Woman of the Year title secured. Most successful female rap project of 2025 achievement locked in. Growing fan base is fiercely loyal and protective, critical acclaim from major publications and industry figures. She's focused on music and career advancement, unbothered by drama, elevated above the noise. The culture made its position clear. Disrespecting Doechii stops in 2026. The line was drawn. Jason Martin drew it, Glasses Malone drew it, 100 drew it, TDE drew it. The collective message was unified. This behavior won't be tolerated and there will be consequences. Hip-hop showed it can protect its own when the situation demands unity.
But here's the speculation moving forward. Will Adin actually learn from this? History suggests probably not. His pattern is clear. Offense, backlash, apology, repeat. The cycle continues until consequences become permanent. We might be watching that permanent consequence phase begin. When multiple industries close doors simultaneously, recovery becomes exponentially harder. Will Doechii's Grammy night become another victory moment? If she wins even one of those 5 nominations, the narrative writes itself. The woman Adin tried to diminish accepting a Grammy on stage, thanking her supporters, proving excellence transcends hate. That would be poetic. That would be full circle vindication. Will other creators learn the lesson? Some will, some won't. There's always going to be someone chasing controversy for clicks, but this situation provides a case study in consequences. Business schools could teach this as a lesson in brand management. Don't alienate communities. Don't disrespect protected figures. Don't let ego override business sense. The most important question, though, will the industry maintain this energy? Will they continue protecting Black women, or was this a one-time collective response? That's what we need to watch. Sustained change requires consistent accountability, not just viral moments of unity. The culture showed up for Doechii. Will they show up for the next woman facing similar harassment? Reports suggest more details are still emerging, more clues surfacing. Industry insiders claim additional consequences are coming for Ross that haven't been made public yet. If that's true, this story isn't over. The collapse might accelerate. This story transcends simple celebrity beef. It represents a turning point in accountability, a lesson in consequences, and a victory for those who support talent over toxicity. Doechii continues rising, while Adin Ross faces the fallout of his own words. The message is clear. Disrespect Black women at your own peril. The culture won't stand for it. The industry won't tolerate it. The market won't support it. Success proved to be the best response. Receipts trumped rhetoric. Strategic silence defeated desperate deflection. Maturity outshined chaos. Doechii showed the blueprint for handling hate. Stay focused, stay excellent, stay winning. Let the work speak. Let achievements answer. Let success be the revenge. Adin learned the expensive way that words have weight and actions have consequences. You can't blame media for covering what you publicly said. You can't deflect responsibility when you're caught on your own live stream. You can't expect the culture to forgive disrespect just because you face backlash. Accountability isn't optional anymore. Stay locked in because this story is still developing. More details dropping, more industry reaction surfacing. The 2026 Grammys approaching, where Doechii could cement her victory with hardware. Reports say additional consequences for Ross are coming. This narrative has more chapters. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Adin will actually change his behavior, or is this pattern permanent? Do you think the industry will maintain this protective energy for Black female artists moving forward? And honestly, do you think he regrets losing those millions or just regrets getting caught? Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update, because we're covering every twist that emerges. I appreciate you for rocking with me through this deep dive. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, and remember, in the age of the internet, your words live forever, and consequences are real.